Hi everyone, welcome. My name's Hajira and I'm founder of Muslim Hypnobirthing. I'm also a midwife, and I've actually got a very, very amazing person with me today. And we've already connected before the recording started. And we met many years ago, actually, in 2022 or 2021, actually, 21, when I actually used Krystyna's services at the time of one of my wedding events, and we reconnected. And I've actually watched her journey throughout, kind of silently in the background, supporting her. And I feel really grateful that we're here today to spend a bit of time together. So I'm just going to introduce Krystyna for her. So this is Krystyna, and she is a live event artist, and there's just a few amazing achievements that she has shared with me. And I know she won't bang on about it, so I'll be the one that does it for her. So she has featured in the two leading high-end bridal magazines, which is Khush and Asiana magazine. She's also featured in BBC in the Discover Britain programme. She's also been at the Dubai Wedding Show, which is the most luxurious and international wedding show up to date. She is an architect with background in art tutoring to children and teenagers, and she travels worldwide to paint the most beautiful and unique events for the most wonderful people. So, Krystyna, I want you to come and say hi to our audience and yeah, let them know why you're here and how you're feeling really today.
I'm really excited, actually, really, like I said before, like I'm really happy for us to have a chat. It's not that often as much as I try to connect with my clients, obviously it gets a lot,
Mm,
with life and, constantly like evolving and like speaking to hundreds of people, to get deeper into like getting to know someone. But I really enjoyed, like I enjoyed what you do, yeah, as well. Uh, um, and yeah, I'm just happy to be part of this, interview podcast.
yeah. Yeah. So this interview, just for those who are listening or watching, depending on what platform you're looking at, we're going to actually talk about Christina's journey in business, as a woman, as an artist in the industry she's in, just for anyone who might feel like they want to feel inspired to follow their dreams. Because I think me and Christina can agree, killer of dreams is self-doubt, and killer of dreams is inaction, and we are definitely not those women. And Christina is definitely a firecracker and she does a lot of action. And I'm sure she has some self-doubts here and there, but she doesn't let it stop her following her dreams. So what I really am going to do, Christina, is I'd love for you to let our listeners know who you are really. What's your background? What got you into being this business owner, and kind of a bit of a snapshot of your journey within your business and why you really started it.
Okay, to keep the story not too long, obviously I have background in architecture, design, art, so that's something that I've been sort of enjoying my entire life, art and like creation. And up until a few years ago, I personally never heard about something called like life wedding painting.
Mm.
So when I heard about it, I was like quite intrigued. And I would normally not consider myself an extrovert. So I was kind of doubtful, whether I should do it, whether I should, like even go and, paint at my first booking. But then I did it anyway. Like to be fair, I've done quite a lot of projects, whether it was like within interior design or like graphics. I used to paint murals, like a lot of creative
Wow.
projects. Even if I like wouldn't do something before, like I would still take the opportunity and figure out before
Yeah.
how to prep for it before like actually going into the work. And it always worked out well. Obviously, I've done my mistakes along the way, but from every person that I heard that, is doing some kind of business, it's just the journey. As long as,
Mm.
if you don't do anything, you don't make mistakes. But obviously, if you do something and you want to just push forward, then obviously you're gonna make mistakes. Like we're not perfect.
That's the
And
key
now,
word. Perfect. We're
yeah,
not meant to
yeah,
be perfect.
no. And yeah, we're all human beings, we make our mistakes. And as long as we sort of figure it out and, sort of adjust and adapt to situations, it's and stay true, I guess, to ourselves and to the
Mm.
value that we have. I guess it's very important. And yeah, for the past few years, I've been painting now trying sort of to expand into corporate events, businesses, so something that is perhaps not as seasonal. As
Mm.
you know, weddings is more of a seasonal industry,
Hmm.
be very busy, like very busy during summertime and a little bit slower during winter time. But it's really, it's really about like capturing relationships to me, like and emotions in the family. Like family is very important to me, the relationships that
Mm.
you build with the very close people around you that, support you and are there for you on a daily basis. So I aim to capture that on my canvases. And you know, I love I love to see people that, when they get the portraits, the wedding portraits, whether it's, just a commissioned portrait, even after a wedding from a photo, they just get very emotional. I mean, we no AI, no computer, like no digital technology would ever replace the human connections and
Yeah.
stories and relationships. And that is the core of what I do.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you actually off the cuff as well. Do you remember the
Yeah.
first event where you thought, I've made it? Did you ever have a moment where you thought, I think I've made it? I've worked so hard to get it. I think I've done it. You've achieved a kind of a certain point. Did you ever have a feeling like that at any point?
Um,
Anything that kind of comes
I
to
don't
mind? Or did you always feel like you've never made it and there's always another bar to hit?
Yeah, I guess I'm more of the yeah, I'm like a second type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just wanting.
I personally like I said to you before, even obviously like just like a few minutes ago, I just I guess, like for me, I just want to do more every time. And this is something that I guess I need to work on, to appreciate what I already had. Because obviously, I mean, I came to the UK 10 years ago. Obviously, I was born in
Mm.
Poland. So, for me to sort of, study, work in so many different fields and so many different projects, have, 2-year-old son by now and, do
Yeah.
so many things. It's been quite an active journey, like a lot happened. So I never really take my time to look backwards at what I've done. Probably should. Um,
Yeah.
but
So you're telling me
I
in
just
that decade, so that last decade has just been going, it's just been rocketing for the last decade.
yeah,
Wow. So in the 10
not stopping.
years, you've achieved a lot. And not
Oh,
just
thank you.
business, also in your mum life. So really,
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you, because there may be some mums on this call and listening
yeah.
over and wondering how is Christina doing this? She's a mum and she's got a little one. How do you balance your career? How do you balance that family life? How do you balance and juggle all that? Because your clients, I'm sure, are needed all over the world and clients are needed in different ways. So yeah, I'd love to know maybe some top tips or anything you've learned, things that you may think that you would have, done the same or do differently, just for anyone out there who's wants to follow their dreams or following their dreams already. It's a hard
Um,
question, I know, it's quite deep.
yeah, it's
So don't
like a
feel you
lot
have
of
to
things come
rush.
up like the visual board
Yeah.
right now. I worked quite a lot on being very organized. So, and I had to learn how to prioritize certain tasks. So,
Mm.
there's something like things like, when I guess I look at my time as something very valuable, and I hope it's gonna get more valuable with time. I guess,
Yeah.
like everyone else. Um, so I wouldn't these days, for example, I wouldn't prioritize something that wouldn't necessarily bring like value into my life. I would leave it like until the end of the day or whatever when
Mm.
my mind is not in like a focus mode. So, like obviously when I take care of my son, the routine obviously is very, it can vary a lot. It's all about cooking and taking care of the son and, playing and making sure, not too much screen time and that we go outside and, we stay active and, all the development and brain, works.
The
It's
mental load. It's the
yeah, like
mental load.
literally. Um, but for example, I would never like do like any like tidying up or housework, for example, within the 2 hours that my son has a nap. Like I would purely, even if there's like a lot of dishes or something, hanging. I know I can do that when he's awake, like in a
Mm,
fun
mm.
way. But I would focus purely on my work. Um, for I think for the past half a year, I've been waking up about like 4:30 to 5 a.m. o'clock in the
Ooh,
morning. Yeah.
oh my
And
gosh.
yeah. I mean, I do get enough sleep because I go to sleep like around 10,
So
right?
you're
So,
very structured. You're structured with
yeah.
it and disciplined.
Yeah, literally. I'll put my son to
Mm,
sleep, like do a few bits and bobs, like around the house, something that is not really doesn't require me to think a lot,
yeah,
just like
yeah.
my own tasks. And then I would like about wake up before my son wakes up because I have to have that
Mm,
time to like to structure a
yeah.
lot, like do creative work, respond to emails, reach out, like for any collaborations, any potential
Mm,
work. Like
mm,
it's just like it's doing a lot of manual labor, which I know AI now is probably can help a lot with that, but again, it's taking that time to learn AI. Obviously it's the time that you need to take out of your day.
yeah.
It's like another step that I'm taking, but I'm just doing a lot of moves to get somewhere, to achieve something that I was just like always pushing through everything. So that worked that worked out for me.
Yeah.
Um,
So for you, it
and
would see structure, making sure that you're prioritizing, and
yeah,
that way you're present for your son with him
yeah,
when you need to be, and then you're present in your business. That's what I'm
yeah,
getting from you. The fact that he's sleeping, and then you're like, right, it's time to really be present in my art and in my
yeah.
client work. And then when he wakes up, you have to be very present for him, which sounds
Mhm.
amazing, actually. And I think these tips that you've given are, I'm hoping it will inspire other mums that they can do it. They just have to find their own way, don't they?
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually ask you about self-care. So you
Okay.
talk about prioritizing, and you talk about
Yeah.
juggling. We talked about your son a little bit, and then about your business. How do you prioritize self-care? Like how do you prioritize yourself and looking after yourself? Because as we know, if we can't give to people with an empty cup. So is there anything like you feel like you do that really helps you? Any rituals you do or anything specific that helps you kind of stay grounded in your business and in life generally?
Um, I stay quite active, like physically, and I don't go to the gym or I don't go to any like specific classes, but like on a daily basis. And actually, I channel a lot of that activity like through my like the time with my son, because anyway, you have to do something with obviously with your baby, with the son, and like with your child. So, and you want that to be, entertaining. You want to challenge them, like to encourage them to be more independent. But you also want to, like, I want to, I'm sure everyone else, like just install like good values in your children, and
Yes.
obviously for them to learn that it's not only about like it's about like doing the housework stuff. It's about exercising. So like I would like exercise with him and do like so many like fun activities.
Oh.
And so he joins me. I'm like like doing push-ups, and he like sitting on my like at the
Just
on my
silliness, right?
yeah,
Silliness.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's that kind of stuff, incorporating what you need to do. I guess what I need to do, I incorporated that, what I needed to do for myself to just just stay active and like not get lazy, because sometimes we have those moments that like we feel a bit like demotivated, or something is just not working out quite yet. So I guess like activity to me is very important. Really quite focused on diet as well.
Okay.
I would have like like burger and chips, two, 3 times like like a month, but I just cook at home every day and like cook from
Oh, yeah.
try to cook from scratch. And like very simple foods. I don't do anything like crazy, like
Nothing Nara
dumplings,
Smith. Nothing
Chinese.
like
Yeah, yeah,
Nara.
nothing too time consuming, but something that is pretty like dense in um just like invite like vitamins, like and like just
Mm.
very like
I
quite
love
nutritious.
that.
And
I really love that. I really love
yeah.
hearing that because I think what you've just said is something really insightful for me listening to you because people think self-care is like having a bath, putting a candle on, but
Oh,
that's nice.
yeah.
That's a nice luxury. And don't get me wrong, it's lovely to do all that. But I think it's really nice to hear you say that you incorporate in your life and that your
Yeah.
child can be a part of that. That doesn't mean you're still not looking
Yeah.
after yourself. I love that. I never ever thought of it like that, and I really love that
Seriously.
perspective.
Because
That's actually, and the silliness. I'm sure it's just
yeah,
fun, and having
it's
fun, and
fun. Yeah.
yeah, and just that lightheartedness of life. It just gets you through all the kind of bumps in the on your road, really, on
Yeah.
your journey. Um,
Seriously.
what advice would you give to women who are starting their own business, or maybe they've hit a bit of a roadwork or kind of a block in their business, mentally or financially? Anything you feel like would, any advice that you'd like to give to any of these ladies listening? Because I know business, it goes in cycles, it goes in waves, and is there anything that you felt helped you get through those waves of business financially, emotionally, physically? Yeah,
Mm.
I'd love to know.
Um, I guess that kind of like staying quite consistent is important, and sometimes not even like sometimes even if I don't want to do something, I feel demotivated, I will still just try and do at least a little bit. Um, and allowing yourself to, although maybe I'm not the best example, but this is something that I work on as well, to like take a moment to just reflect like on any moves or action that you do like within your business or within your family, because like on the daily basis we have so much going on daily basis, like usually
Yeah.
even like with with AI, with digital things, like we like run 100 miles like an hour because literally we have like social media, that sort of keep us addicted, like just like scrolling, having like everyone is sort of chasing attention these days, and sort of like
Mm,
brands, they sort of they want your attention. That's the most valuable thing these days, attention. That's why there's like sometimes so even like so many weird videos out there, because people just want to get like viral and they want to get attention. And I also obviously, like when you have your business, you also have to think about, sometimes like the words that you use
yeah.
and whatever, right? Because like just that attracts attention. Um, but I don't find that necessarily like my style. Like I said at the beginning, like I'm not really an extrovert. I've always been quite introverted, despite the fact that I paint weddings and I show up and I see
Mm,
hundreds of people, like talk to hundreds of people a day sometimes during events. But it took me a while to realize that you don't have to talk too much.
yeah.
Sometimes well, most of the time, it's more important to listen, and
Yes.
people just come to you and they appreciate that. They can talk to you, they can tell you their stories. It's so important. And then I was like, okay, yeah, so I don't have to be an extrovert. I don't have to be that well-spoken or chatty,
Yeah.
to attract like people's attention, like and
Yeah.
like come to me. So that was kind of I guess important for me, realizing what kind of person I am, what works for me,
Yeah.
uh, and trying to apply that into my business, into what I do, sort of canceling out the noise around me.
I love that. You know what you've just said really resonates with me because
Yeah.
in business, I think there's always this idea of like you have competition, but that's just
Mm,
not true. That's all in our heads. Like it's not
mm,
competition because you are Christina. No one can
yeah,
replicate you, and whoever you attract will be very different to whoever else. Somebody else might do similar things, similar service, but
yeah,
it's not you. And I think sometimes as women, I'm sure you can appreciate this, that sometimes it's felt there's this competitiveness going on, but actually I love that you've just mentioned that that's the noise, the competition, but that's
yeah,
not really real. The
yeah.
really is listening, and I love that because I came to you, and I'll be honest, I remember looking around, you do when you're going for an event, you're
Mm,
looking around, you're looking for who can do my, who can give me a service that my guests will enjoy. Because for me, I
mm.
really, really wanted it for my guests. And I was like, I looked at your I think it was your Etsy actually. You had an
Oh,
Etsy.
that's yeah, yeah,
You were
yeah.
on Etsy at the time, and I was just looking at a few things, and I remember we had a phone call, and you
Hmm.
were the only one that actually had a phone call with me. Everyone else was message. And I think
Mm.
that, and then I remember you having a phone call with me. You won't remember because you've had lots of people, and I really don't mind
Mm.
that because it's not human nature. Plus, you've had a
Yeah, yeah,
baby, and we all forget things.
yeah, yeah.
And I remember like when I was
Yeah.
telling you, I was like, this is really important for me. What do you offer? I would like something for myself, but actually, this is really important for the guests. And I remember you telling me, let me know the people, the names of the guests that you really want me to capture. Gave
Oh
you a
yeah, yeah.
list. I gave you a list of the people that
Yeah, you
really
did
matter
know
to
that.
me, which is hard to do because crowd control, it's weddings is very highly emotive. There's lots
Mm,
of people get excited, there's kids, there's all sorts of different ages and different demographic of people. But you actually stuck to it and I didn't
mm,
have to worry. And I felt like I could trust you. And for me, and you weren't shouting or talking close to me, you just went, yep, it's done. Like, give me the list. I've got the list. You said hello. And then I think my sister helped you actually find out who they were, like in terms of
yeah,
faces.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I kid you not, even to this day, those friends who've got those live kind of drawings and portraits love it. Some of them have it in their homes and it's not even their wedding, you know? And so I think it was something that I loved about you. And you're right. You don't have to be extra. You don't have to become someone else.
Yeah,
That's not what so yeah, especially with social media and attracting your clients, you
yeah,
will attract people that you want to work with because
yeah,
there will be another person who's loud and proud and all this, and that's
yeah.
great because they'll
Oh,
attract other people. So no, I
mm,
love that. And I'm going to ask you something a little bit more deeper, which is more about moments where you feel like you wanted to give up. And I'm sure there
mm,
may have been moments, or you felt like this isn't going to work or
mm.
some kind of moment. How did you get yourself through it? Did you just allow yourself to sit in that moment and just accept that that's the phase you're in and then you will continue? Like what kind of helped you if you did ever face any kind of moments of any of those moments in your business? Unless it
Um,
completely skyrocketed and that was it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine,
you
you
know.
can say that, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really nice to know.
Yeah, there were definitely a few moments where I felt that, perhaps it's not going as fast as I would like it to be. And then obviously you get, like life's real, you gotta pay for things. So you like,
Yeah,
just think, well, should I get like another job or should I do this and that? But I just like, I guess to make this work, like I budgeted a lot through like certain periods. So
mm,
I would just like put a lot on the line to make, this project work, my art studio and develop it. And actually, I don't know, just put a lot of time into it. I don't know, it's like it takes a lot out of you, but then it gives me a lot as well in like the appreciation that I get. Obviously like then, like I guess the bigger, like the more work I've done over the years, the more sort of, I would say like difficult moments I had when I had to, either deal with, with certain situations or certain clients that
yeah.
would either, that would basically make me learn about myself and about either sticking to my boundaries um or learning how to communicate in a better way or
Mm,
realizing that not everyone wants the same thing and everyone has a different outlook on life and not everyone wants like the same outcome, for example, from life wedding painting, because obviously in relation to what I do, um because like I paint life, so
yeah.
what it is, what it really is on one side, like quite beautiful entertainment on the day, kind of like a Porsche thing apparently to have on, to have like, an artist paint and whatever.
Mm,
So, you don't, I guess like not everyone needs it, but if you want it, you want it, and then you
yeah.
know the value of it. So it's like an entertainment, especially, during more like traditional ceremonies where, you wouldn't have a DJ or you wouldn't have, like maybe something that is kind of like very loud or, like
Mm.
outstanding live wedding painter provides that kind of, beautiful like live service. And guess, like I said, like I speak to so many people on the day, and sometimes, people come in and they're like, who am I supposed to talk to? What am I supposed to look at? They will like come to me, like take videos of the painting, like chat to me,
Oh,
like tell me some
yeah.
stories. So it's kind of, like beautiful like a service to have. And on the other side, there's this painting, like something custom, something that it's no one else in the world gets
Mm.
that same artwork. It's not mass produced, not manufactured. So yeah, like, different people would sort of value sometimes one thing more than the other, and that will, later on that might skyrocket into, certain situations, if something comes up.
Mm.
So it's just sort of learning how to deal with certain situation and with so many different personalities, and how
You're
to
being very, very kind in the way you're describing things. Very, very kind. Because I'm sure you've been in situations where you're like, how on earth do I navigate this? Because you're right, there's
yeah,
different expectations and personalities. And I guess the main thing is you do your best when
yeah,
providing a service.
yeah.
And it sounds like, and I know you do, you're staying true to yourself. And I
Mm.
think I'm going to ask you one more question before we move on to the fire questions. Is
Okay.
something that I feel really would be lovely to listen to because I'm sure both me and you have come across it or have been tested about
Mhm.
integrity. So keeping
Mm.
integrity in our own business and when we network or the layers of having your own business, how do
Mm.
you, have you been tested with your integrity, firstly? And is it something that you feel quite strongly about, I guess? Like, how did you maintain integrity in your business, especially when you started getting, when you weren't having so much interest in the beginning, right? It's usually
Mm.
at the beginning and the slow part of the business where you're thinking, should I just take this person on even though I don't feel I should? Does that make sense?
Mm.
How did you maintain your
Yeah.
integrity in the business?
Um, I'll be honest with you. Obviously, when I was starting, I just took any bookings because how else you gonna learn, right? How to, I mean, at least
Mm,
that's my approach. Like I can't learn anything unless I do it. Like you
yeah.
can't, I don't think you can learn anything with life. I mean, maybe very clever people can learn from someone else's
No, I think you
advice.
have to do it. You have to do the work. You have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
it.
But I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, I have to experience it, like,
Yeah.
live the situation.
Mm,
Um, Now, I mean, I've had maybe like 3 or 4 situations in my entire like history of, painting weddings live where situations were kind of like escalating, going to
mm,
like, like difficult situations that I have to still
mm.
navigate. But, I would always, I would always ask myself, like,